Picture two apartments in the same building. Same neighborhood, same floor plan, nearly identical rent. The first belongs to Derek, who earns $90,000 a year. Walk inside and you see a 75-inch television, a $4,000 leather sectional, a kitchen full of gadgets still in their boxes, and a spare room too packed with stuff to use. Derek checks his balance with a knot in his stomach. He has 2 missed paychecks from a crisis. The second apartment belongs to Lena, who earns $55,000 a year, almost 40% less. Walk inside and you notice space. A simple couch. A television that works. A kitchen with the tools she uses. A closet of clothes she wears. Lena checks her balance with calm. She has 18 months of expenses saved and invests 20% of every paycheck. Same building, and the person earning far less has many times the breathing room. This is not a story about income. It is the quiet relationship between your stuff and your money, and almost nobody is taught how it works. I am Jenna, and today I am walking you through 10 minimalist money rules that separate the people who always have money from the people who never do, whatever they earn. This is not about deprivation. It is about seeing the true cost of what you own. Start with one idea that will reframe every purchase you make. Everything you own costs you money twice. The first cost is the price on the receipt. The second cost is everything that comes after, and it is usually the bigger one. The second cost is space, because storing things is not free. In many American cities, your home runs you $20 to $40 per square foot a year. A treadmill with clearance eats about 15 square feet, so you pay a few $100s a year in rent just to store the rack your laundry hangs on. The second cost is upkeep. The boating world's rule of thumb is that you spend about 10% of a boat's value every year just to own it. A $30,000 boat runs around $3,000 a year in maintenance, storage, and insurance. Even in a season, you never touch the water. The second cost is mental. Researchers at UCLA found that women who described their homes as cluttered carried a more stressed cortisol pattern all day, and separate research shows clutter quietly competes for your focus. Your stuff taxes your attention in the background. And the second cost is opportunity. Every dollar locked inside a possession is a dollar not invested. $15,000 poured into a home gym is not just $15,000. At historical market returns, it could have grown to between $47,000 and $63,000 over 15 years. You did not buy a home gym. You bought a home gym instead of that. Add the second cost to the first, and many things cost more to own than to buy. Minimalists are not avoiding nice things because they hate them. They ran the real number and decided most things are not worth it. Here are the 10 rules they live by. Rule 1. Calculate cost per use before you buy. Estimate how many times you will honestly use a thing, then divide the price by that number. That one calculation kills most impulse buys. A $90 jacket worn 3 times costs $30 a wear. A $200 jacket worn 200 times costs $1 a wear. The expensive one is actually the cheap one. A $250 gadget used twice a year costs $125 per use. But it cuts both ways. A $1,400 mattress used nightly for 8 years costs about 48 cents a night. Cost per use ignores the marketing and tells the truth. Rule 2. Apply the replacement test to everything you own. Walk through your home and ask one question of each item. If this disappeared today, would I spend real money to buy it again? Be honest. Would you repurchase the bread maker in the back of the cabinet or the clothes you have not worn in a year? For most of it, the answer is no. Those things live in your home through inertia, not intention, and they have negative value. They cost you space and attention and give almost nothing back. Sell what has value, donate what someone can use, and let the rest go. Rooms feel bigger, and everything left has a reason to be there. Rule 3. Never upgrade out of boredom. There is a pattern among people who earn well and have nothing to show for it. They replace things that work perfectly fine. The phone runs every app, but the new one has a slightly better camera. The car is reliable, but this year's model looks sharper. That is not an upgrade. It is wealth destruction dressed up as progress. Americans now replace a phone about every 3 years, and that gap is finally stretching out as people admit the new model barely changes their life. Swapping a $1,000 phone every 2 years instead of holding it 4 or 5 wastes $7,000 to $10,000 over a lifetime, and that is one category. Boredom is not failure. Only actual failure is. Rule 4. Create friction for spending and ease for saving. People follow the path of least resistance, so make the right choice the easy one. Add friction to spending. Delete your saved card numbers, take the shopping apps off your phone, unsubscribe from the promotional emails, and wait 24 hours before any non-essential purchase. Most of the urge fades within a day if you do not act on it. Then make saving effortless. Automate a transfer to your investments on payday before the money lands in checking, and treat it like a bill you cannot skip. This beats willpower because willpower runs out when you are tired and your environment does not. Rule 5. Count your possessions on purpose. This sounds obsessive until you try it, because counting forces awareness, and awareness stops accumulation. Pick a category and count it. How many shirts do you own? Most people guess low and find 3 or 4 times what they expected. Once you know you own 47 shirts, the 48th feels different. You are not buying a shirt. You are adding to a pile you cannot already close the drawer on. So set quiet limits. Maybe 30 pieces of clothing, maybe a 1 in, 1 out rule. Limits turn every purchase into a conscious trade instead of mindless drift. Rule 6. Rent or borrow before you buy. Most things get used hard for a few weeks and then sit, so test the hobby before you fund it. Want to try camping? Rent the gear for the first couple of trips. Curious about woodworking? Borrow the tools or use a maker space. This tells you whether the interest is real or just a passing mood, and shows you exactly what you need before spending $1. Garages across the country are quiet museums of abandoned enthusiasm. Skis from the winter someone swore they would ski every weekend. Camera gear from the month they were going to turn pro. Rent first, and you never become the curator of that museum. Rule 7. Understand the lifestyle multiplier. Every big purchase drags a chain of smaller ones behind it. A boat needs a trailer, a hitch, storage, insurance, gear, and gas. A pool needs chemicals, a cover, furniture, and a higher water bill. A motorcycle needs a helmet, maintenance, and somewhere to keep it. The sticker price is never the real price. A $5,000 purchase can quietly become $8,000 or $10,000 once the ecosystem fills in. The good news is it runs in reverse. Sell the boat and you delete the storage, the insurance, the registration, and the repairs all at once. One decision, and a whole category of cost disappears. Rule 8. Define enough before you earn more. This is the trap that catches high earners. They never decide what enough looks like, so they keep buying and never arrive. Income goes up, lifestyle rises to match, and they need another raise just to feel like they are moving. Plenty of people earning $300,000 feel as stretched as people earning $80,000 because their expenses grew to swallow every raise. So decide in advance. What house is genuinely enough? What car meets your needs? Then earn toward that line instead of moving it. Someone who decides enough is $60,000 of spending, then earns $150,000, builds wealth fast, because that $90,000 gap flows straight to freedom. Without a finish line, the race never ends. Rule 9. Measure wealth by optionality, not accumulation. The usual scoreboard is what you own. Minimalists measure what they can choose. Can you walk away from a job that is wrecking your health? Take 3 months off for a family emergency? Start something risky without a guaranteed paycheck? Those choices are the real definition of wealth, and they only exist when there is a wide gap between what you earn and what you spend. The person earning $200,000 and spending $195,000 has almost no options. They are chained to the next paycheck. The person earning $80,000 and spending $45,000 can absorb a shock and say no. Every purchase is a trade. You spend a little freedom to own a thing. Sometimes it is worth it. Often it is not. Rule 10. Declutter in small cycles, not one giant annual purge. Most people do a massive clean-out, feel amazing for 2 weeks, then drift right back without noticing. The purge feels productive. The slow refill is invisible. So trade the once-a-year explosion for small, steady reviews. A glance at what came in this week. 1 category this month. A check on the trend each quarter. Removing 3 things a week is easy and it sticks. Removing 300 in a weekend is exhausting and keeps getting postponed. The cycle also shows you which moods and which marketing make you spend, so you prevent the problem instead of cleaning it up later. So here is where you start this week, not someday. Walk your home with the replacement test and pull 10 things you would not buy again. Sell them, donate them, or let them go and notice how it feels. This month, put the 24-hour rule on every non-essential purchase and count how many urges survive a day. And before any of that, write down what enough looks like in the big categories, the home, the car, the wardrobe, so you have a line to defend when temptation shows up. Here is the part nobody mentions. This works in both directions. Owning less builds your savings, and a strong savings account quietly kills the urge to own more. A lot of spending is just an attempt to fill the anxiety that insecurity creates. Build the security, and the craving fades on its own. We also adapt to almost everything we buy. The thrill wears off in a few weeks, but the price stays for years. That is the whole game. Now go back to those 2 apartments. Lena, earning $55,000 with 18 months saved, did not get there on a big income. She got there on clarity about what matters. Derek, earning $90,000 and 2 paychecks from trouble, never questioned the idea that more stuff means a better life. Both apartments are available to you, whatever you earn right now. The only real question is whether you own your things or your things own you. The math and the peace of mind both point the same way. I am Jenna. I will see you in the next one.